morning, everyone. Morning, Donna. Morning, Steve. So last time we did Frankenstein's monster. So I thought today I'd do Bride of Frankenstein, so you can put them together in a drawing maybe. And the Bride of Frankenstein is quite good as well because you can use the similar sort of character to create like evil looking witches, you know, like almost like Cruella de Vil from 101 Dalmatians or Maleficent, all similar sort of characters. But this one's going to be based on the old black and white movie Bride of Frankenstein. I don't know the actress's name, but it was pretty spooky looking. So we'll do the simple version, then we'll do a slightly more realistic looking portrait. So let's get going. So I don't know if you don't know the character, she has this crazy big hair with quite a distinct hairstyle. So that's what we'll start doing up here. So we'll start with the head, and I'm going to have one arm reaching out, so I want to leave a little bit of extra space on this side of the paper so that I can fit her arm in. Hiya Claire, my Auntie Claire in Wales. Hope you're well and safe. So I'm going to start with her hair, and this can be quite a sort of wobbly line really, because it's hair that's all swept back off her face. A bit like Marge Simpson almost. So make quite a nice big wobbly line like that. And then it's all sort of scraped back off her face there. So we'll start the face. So think like a big candy floss or something like that. Then the face, I'm going to do curve here for the forehead, like that. Hiya Bryn, hi Anthony, both in Australia I think. And then I'm going to put the ear in just here. So remember how we've been doing the ears, a bit like a C shape. Another one inside, and that curve, and that curve. So your lines really for that are one like that, then one like that inside, then here this one is that, and then this one is similar shape to that, like that. And they're the 4 lines that we use to do an ear from the side. Now I'm going to do quite a sharp eyebrow like this. So if you have time, you can look at an image. It's not too scary for the younger ones, but she's got quite pointy eyebrows like that. But you can look at an image on Google of Bride of Frankenstein from the old movie, and she's got these really pointy eyebrows like that. Then I'm going to do her eye from the side. Now remember, when we do an eye from the front, it's got that sort of like a lemon shape or something. But when you do it from the side, we have to do a triangle like that, and then a curve, because you're looking at it inside the eyelids. So from the front, that's your eyeball with eyelids over the top. From the side, that's your eyeball with the eyelids wrapped around it. And again, I'm going to put this lid in as well here, look like that. So, and I'll make this line quite dark so that it looks a bit like makeup. So, and you can extend, especially when you're drawing a girl, if you're a female character, if you extend that line out a bit, it makes it look more like long eyelashes and a bit more feminine looking. And we'll do that curve, like I said here, and then another line underneath. Again, I want this to be quite dark. And then we'll put the pupil in like that. Okay. Hiya, Petter from Hungary. I hope you're well. So, like that. And now we're going to put this hairline in. And again, don't worry about doing too, accurate lines, because it's the edge of the hair. So if it's made up of little lines like that, that can look quite cool. Now she's got a very distinct thing that you must remember to do to make her look like it. And it's like this sort of snaky line like that of white hair that goes up, again a bit like Cruella de Vil or something crossed with Marge Simpson. You can do some lines in the hair, and then if you can take the time to shade this bit, and look what I do sometimes, I turn my pencil, instead of holding it like that, I turn it on its side to do the shading, just because partly you've got more lead to work with, so it's a bit quicker, and also you get a much more sort of regular shading, whereas if you do it all like that, it's hard to get it to all match up. So try turning your pencil on its side and shading with the edge rather than the point. And don't worry if you go over there, you can take your rubber and take those bits out. Maybe do that line again. And because it's hair, don't worry about being too accurate, because you want the lines to be a bit more random than in the face. So there. For anyone that knows the character, they would already know who it was just from that bit, I think. Now I'm going to do a nose, so we curve back in, sort of in line with the eye there, and back out. And now you can make the nose many different shapes, really. You could make it sort of quite turned up a bit like that, or turn it up even more like that. That looks a bit like a kid's, or you can make it much more pointy. Now I think that one will look a bit better on her because it looks a bit more sort of angry maybe. So we'll make that quite pointy and put the nostril in there. And then bring a little curve out there. And I'm going to do the lips, so I want almost like a V shape there. I'll just do that again so you can see, like that. And then we're going to go in like that, and I want to make this like really dark lipstick. So make sure when you do that line to bring it back down there towards the front of the mouth to help the shape of the lips there. If you want to, you can put a little hint of the eyelash on this side, just here. That always looks quite good. And then this is the bottom lip, so I'm going to curve down, and I want to bring it like that, look. So try and do that and leave a little bit of light shining here like that, and then you can colour the rest in. Then you've got quite realistic looking mouth. Now I'm going to do the neck here. I always think it's quite good to do a long neck, or longer than if you're doing a male character. And in the movie she has sort of stitches like Frankenstein just going along here, so I'm going to go in a bit under that bottom lip, out not too far, because otherwise you make the jaw look, you can make it look too, if it's too square it can look a bit like a man's jaw or a superhero jaw. And then the neck down there, look, so curve that in like that. You can do a bit of shade in there, or contour lines as we keep calling them. Then here I'm going to put some Frankenstein stitches in, and you can put them anywhere really on your character. I'm going to put some there, and I might put, maybe I could put a couple, let me think, I don't want to spoil the forehead too much, about putting a couple here maybe like that. 1, 2, 3, then a line. So you can see really already, if you took those stitches away and cover that hair up, she could be, you know, like a Maleficent character like we said, or a witch or something like that you see in the Disney movies. Now here I want to have quite, in the movie she has quite funny square shoulders, so I'm going to bring one shoulder out like that and quite square, and she has like a robe, a long robe hanging. So again we're going to do like a sort of cartoony character, so they're going to have a bigger head and a shorter body. But if you want to play with those proportions you can. That's just the way we've been doing it on all the others. So, and then here I want this arm, because she's going to be pointing out, so I want it sloping down a bit. And this is always good for when you're doing the characters in different poses. Look at the angles of things like the shoulders, so, and the angles of the hips as well. You can do many different combinations. I'm going to bring this shoulder up and this one down a bit, so like that, and here is sort of the neck of her robe that she's got on. Now this is all quite loose hanging fabric here, so this is quite easy to draw. So we'll do an overlap like that, and you can do some little rips and holes in it if you like. That's sort of where the shoulders sticking up, and then a crease starting about there. And remember, put more stitches in if you want, or you could put some bolts like we did in the Frankenstein character. I think I did a hexagon, but maybe it should have been an octagon. I'm not sure. Hexagon I'll do. So that's easy to draw really. You make your shape, so let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides like that, or you can do 6-sided with a circle in the middle. And then to make it look 3D, all I've done is draw a straight line from those corners and then a parallel line here. So try not to get this line going the wrong way, keep it parallel like that, like that, like that. It looks 3D. Then here we're going to have, so I've sort of roughly marked out where I want the shoulders to go. Here I'm going to do the same thing as that side, like a sort of overlap of the fabric, but I want to see into it a little bit. So whereas that one you can't see into the sleeve, this one I'm going to do a sort of shape like that, look. And then bring that fold up, maybe fade it out here if you want. And then here we're going to have her arm sort of going up like that, with maybe a spooky hand. So here she needs an arm that's almost completely covered in bandages apart from the hand. So we'll do like that. So try and make these sort of pretty much equal length, the two parts of the arm. So that's the upper arm and lower arm. And then don't put that, if you've put a V there, don't put the V over here on the bottom. Try and line it up roughly so that it looks like an elbow. There. And then we're going to put a little line with a slight curve. Then here, quite random sort of bandages almost. There. And we're going to do a spooky looking hand. So I want to do a straight line like that. And then we're going to do one finger that's quite pointy, so it's got a little curve there and another one there. So they're the two parts of your 1, 2, and then there. And then curve that a bit and then pointy at the end. Then here we're going to have this part of the hand, so we'll do a bit of a curve and join with part of the thumb and pointy again. So that looks a bit like a lobster at the moment, so we're going to put a couple of fingers behind and then it'll look like a hand. So starting about here, I'm going to line down to a point and curve it back up, and then one more sort of coming straighter down like that. And you can shade that if you want, like that, or you can put black fingernails on there if you like. Quite long, spooky looking fingernails. Then this arm we're going to bring sort of straight down here in another scary, with another scary hand. So it's going to come down and then we'll put the hand at an angle like that, something like that. So here, just a gentle curve at the top, bring it down, and remembering the length of this forearm. When one of the most important things with drawing is to always be cross-referencing and looking across at other parts of your drawing and make sure it all relates to each other. So it's not, you don't have one arm that's really short and one that's really long, unless you're doing a monster or something that's got a long arm and a short arm. And then we're going to come out a little bit here because that's like the forearm. So that's the crease almost where your elbow is. Then down, and it should end slightly thinner than it is at the top because your wrist is thinner than your shoulder. And then some bandages. These can be quite, you know, random. Don't be too worried about them. And we can do some holes on a dress. And we'll do another spooky hand. So straight down like that, and then a little kink, and then down to a point. And I'm looking to see how big I did the hands there. So I want a similar size. Really, I'm doing the same sort of hand there as here, so it's mirrored really. So like that, to a point, and put the fingernail on. Then we put this little bend here for the thumb. You can put a slight overlap in that line if you want. And fingernail on, and then like we did before, draw the fingers behind. You can even have part of them showing there, look, like that, and you can shade that bit in. Sorry, just realised can't see the hand there. See if that's better. I think that's a bit better. Move the whole thing back a bit like that. So I'll just go over that hand again for the sake of the video really. So we brought it down like that, this wrist here. Then there's the bandages, so we'll do a little gentle curve down like that, and then come out. This is for the thumb area just there. Then I want a little gentle bend again, and then the thumb like that with a fingernail on the end. You could even do a sort of crease for the knuckle, and then here little overlap in that line to get the creases for this part of your hand, and then here the finger back out like that, and then the knuckle, bring it to a point. Like that. And here I drew the other fingers behind, so 1, 2, 3, and another one, and we can put the tips of them just showing there, shade it. Try and get this camera a bit better. And then here we're going to really, to finish, we're going to do this fabric. We could do it like that, which is fine, but it's a little bit boring, I think, anyway, and an opportunity to put something a bit more interesting in. So what I think is I'm going to give her like a cape coming down here. But what I want you to think is that if this is the curve of her dress, you're not looking at it exactly straight. You're looking at it slightly tilted down like that, because your eyes are sort of here. So this is basically a bit like perspective. So rather than doing it straight, which is there, here I've done a straight line, mark that in. I want to just think, okay, we're looking down on it slightly. And the more you look down on something, the more you see the curve of it, of a cylinder like this. So here we're going to do a bit of a curve to this fabric, just to make it look a bit more 3D. I'm not going to put her feet in because I think it looks quite sort of spooky without them. And I'm also going to slope it off a bit, like, so there's a bit of movement in it. So almost like she's gliding across the floor or something. So it's very easy, really. What we're going to do here, down at the bottom, is like a sort of a line like this that just does. They don't have to be sort of super accurate, curves or anything, but I want it to sort of hint at the fabric, at the bottom of the fabric, the folds. So down here at the bottom, we're going to go like a curve like that, and then back up, down, back up, and try and keep this going on a slightly curved sort of shape at the bottom. But don't worry if they're not exactly how I've done them, but if you see here, that whole line is a gentle curve. It just goes in and out a bit like that, and they're what are going to be the creases for the fabric of a dress. And you can use this to draw dresses or cloaks or capes. And then here, basically where you've got these lines of it going in, you can bring a line up like that and fade it out towards the top like that, look. And try and make them so that they're all going towards the same point, not all going off like that, but all going up to the middle here. So almost like in triangular shape, gently, because obviously it's hanging from this point, so you want them to sort of radiate out from there. So just think about that when you're drawing them in. So it's always good to try and put movement into fabric, because that's one of the cool things about those costumes they have, that they can really add movement to the character. And then because she's Frankenstein's Bride of Frankenstein, you can do some rips or maybe some dirt or scuff marks there. And then behind, I'm going to do a longer cut, sort of as if there's a bit hanging behind here. So I'm going to just imagine a line coming there, bring it down and out, and then I want to put a little curve like that, come back up. That's like the fabric's folded round, and then imagine that the fabric's curving round here. So another line like that, and then this can be shaded in like that, and you could give her, you know, some more scars or stitches, or I think the last time we did a spider hang in Frankenstein's pocket. You could do like some kind of a bug creature crawling up here, or maybe it's like a brooch that she's wearing. And that's a spider again, because it's got 8 legs. We can do some sort of bits of the collar there, more rips. And then if you do a bit of shading underneath like that, look, it looks like she's on the ground. So just a little bit. Like that. And there you go, sort of a spooky Bride of Frankenstein character. So I hope that's all right, and then we'll do a more sort of realistic version of the head, I think, on the next one, probably from the same angle. I'm just going to sharpen my pencil. Hello to Alonso and hello to Goga. Hope you're all well and safe wherever you are. Not going too crazy. Right, so we'll do a more sort of realistic treatment of the head now. So this is sort of leveling up a bit to sort of work on our portrait skills, I suppose. So I'm going to start again. We'll do a similar sort of pose. So sometimes it's a good idea to really roughly do a guideline for yourself. So I often do this just to give myself a little bit of an idea where things are going to be and how they're going to fit on the paper. You know, just so I can fit everything in. And so also you can do, as I'm sure a lot of you have seen, is sort of these guidelines for your eyes and position of the eyes. And I think the important thing to think of when you're doing that is to just try and always add a little bit of perspective to it, so you can, you know, I'm curving that round because I want to think like if this putty rubber that I've got in my hand is the head. So I've very roughly made a shape like that. Okay, so if that's straight on and the nose is there, like that. Now, if we tilt that slightly, you can see that that line starts to curve a little bit, and you start to be able to see a little bit more of what's behind the nose. So that's what we're going to do on this character. So I want a little bit of a curve there. And then here, the nose is going to be roughly here. The mouth is going to be roughly here. Okay, so if you're using that, I don't always use that because I've practiced it a lot, but if you're using that, what you can then do, you can almost completely rub it out, and there'll still be enough for you to see those guidelines, but they won't interfere with your drawing too much. So that's a good way to do it. So here we go, we'll do forehead. So I'm going to bring this down in a nice gentle curve, and then to here, because I'm doing a female character, I don't want to make this brow too heavy, so just a gentle sort of kink out there like that. Then we're going to curve it back up towards that hairline. I want you to concentrate on putting a little overlap there, because again, like I explained, we're looking at it from a slight angle, and then we can do this hair, and you can really treat this however you like, but as long as it joins back up at the right points. So you could, you know, quite meticulously shade it to get the contours of the hair. So what I'm doing there is using sort of lines that all follow the direction of the hair to shade it. Or you could do like we did on the last one, where you're using the edge of the pencil. It's a good idea to leave these little areas of light, because what you do there is you sort of indicating that there's a wave to the hair. So as we go, we'll bring it down a little bit to a point there, because that's sort of what they call the widow's peak, where the centre of the head is. And then I'm going to put that wavy line in. Somebody's asked what paper I'm using. It's nothing especially particular. It's just a cartridge paper, just A3 cartridge paper. Now I'm going to shade this and try and keep some of those curves in. Look, but that's giving a nice shape to the hair. And then we're going to bring the hairline down here to where we've roughly marked that ear. So just shading away, and remember you can use those little lines to indicate the edge of the hair. There is quite a useful way to do it, so you're adding texture to your shading by doing that. Now this is lighter, this curve, so I'm not going to do as much of those lines, but I want them to all follow the direction of the curve that we've drawn in. And then here, and remember what I said on the last one, you can use the edge of your pencil to block large areas in like that. And also if you want to put highlights in, you can take your rubber and rub them back out if you want to. But the important thing is to get a bit of contrast from this shock of white hair that she's got. And to make sure you give the lines a bit of, you know, direction, almost following the hair. So I won't carry on doing all of that. You get the idea where we're going with that. And then we'll put the ear in. So we'll do the same sort of lines as in the first drawing. So you've got those two similar shapes. Just curve this one back in a bit, and then starting there like that, and here like that, and then you can put a little darker dot there. You can make this part of that line a bit darker, and you can put a bit of dark there. Now again, those eyebrows that I spoke about in the last drawing, but this time we're at slightly 3/4, so you're going to see part of it here. So where that edge of that brow started to come out, just bring a sharp line down, quite thick, but stop it quite abruptly, so quite quickly, just before this central line that we sketched in. Then here, remember to leave a decent gap between the two and bring this one up like that. And you can shade this in quite dark. And again, I'm using my shading lines in the direction of the eyebrows, almost, of the hairs on the eyebrows. And then we're going to do an eye, again, sideways on. So as I spoke about in the last one, like that from the side. So curve and like a V with the eyelids. So eyelid, this is the first one here, and just bring it down a little bit there, look like that, and then another one above it, just bring it down, and you can put some eyelashes there, look, and then curve there, and the nose is coming in there, so I'm going to put another dark line for that eyelash and bring some lines out from it, look, and then a curve. And this curve I want to start just behind where I've curved down. It makes it look a bit more 3D. And here underneath, and you can put some eyelashes underneath as well. put quite staring pupils in like that. So if you leave almost a complete circle, it looks like they're really staring. Then curve the nose out here like that, and down like that, and put a nostril in, and the edge of the nostril there. And then here we're going to just hint at a cheekbone behind, so bring it out to maybe sort of level with the tip of the nose, and then come back in underneath, and then I can't remember the name for that, but that little dint underneath your nose, and then some very black lips again. So I'm going to come up like that, down, and then bring this round and overlap, then up here and down, and curve it round and shade that all in like that. Then here, curve it round, and then leave a highlight on there, and then you can shade that middle bit in if you want even darker. And curve in, out gently for the chin. So put the chin in there. Now I'm going to put some shading round here to sort of look even more sort of spooky. Also not sure about the edge of that there. I might curve that back in a bit more like that. If you put some shading underneath, they can look more sort of ghostly. So there's that gentle curve for the chin, or the jaw, sorry, and then under here a gentle curve down. And then we'll put some stitches maybe along here, so that can be quite a jaggedy line. Or another one, I think we did another one up here like that. Make sure you, I've done this line the first time I drew it a little bit too far that way. So imagine the shape of the skull is here, like that. You want the neck probably about there, and then this part of the neck maybe that way a little bit. And then draw a sort of semicircle here so that we've got a bit of perspective. And then you can put a bit of shadow underneath the chin if you want, like that. You put some shadow underneath the nose like that, or underneath the lip there. And obviously we did the sort of tunic there. So there you go, sort of a spooky Bride of Frankenstein character. So I hope you all enjoyed that. We've got 1 and 2, and make sure you send your drawings in to the page and keep sketching and colouring them in and going a little bit more extravagant than the drawings I'm doing. And any ideas for a theme for next week, then please put a message on the page and I'll try and look at some of those. And we can also hopefully announce some more of the favourites we've had of the other sessions we've done. I think I still haven't announced a few of those, so hopefully I'll get round to doing that. A bit busy at the moment with work for myself, so I'm trying to squeeze everything in, so I hope you bear with me and keep doing the amazing sketches that you're all doing. I look forward to seeing them. Have a great weekend. Cheers.